Okay, shall we? Welcome everyone. Um, let's begin sitting as we almost always do. And straight away, with a lot of love and compassion, let go of expectations of uh, this time together. And even the physicality of your seat, like what you might expect of yourself. However many years of training, um, all beautiful. The deep invitation is to remember in your bones and in your cells what it is to be in the human lineage of movement, the natural evolutionary process of the dance of creativity, of exploration, variation, play, play. And so cultivating a deep remembrance of your wild, conscious self. So your seat, your geometry is a play in gravity between earth and sky. And if we could just invite the verticality through a sense of being alert, being present, and saying yes to source, yes to the moment. What does that mean in the pelvis? What does that mean in the deep belly, in the core? What does that mean in the heart? So invite the breath without expectation. And the key word is allowance. Allow for the breath of life to move through you with as little resistance or hesitation as possible. And that experience of allowance is something real. It's deeply medicinal. It's also super juicy. So, for example, can you feel the breath in the legs? And this is not a metaphor, it's real. Myofascially, it's totally real. Energetically, it's real. Can you feel the breath within the bowl of the pelvis? Can you feel the breath whispering against the face of the sacrum? And in that feeling, any sacral awareness is a key into the core. Something that allows the tail to relax, to unfurl and spread out. The pelvic floor gets light and buoyant. As you push the sitting bones down just a little bit more enthusiastically into the earth, opening the crown to sky. And letting your breath become awareness so that where the breath goes, the feeling is more and more that you can sense all of your embodied space and beyond. And then go ahead and change the way that you're sitting. Do something different. It doesn't matter what it is. You could put the other leg forward. You could shift slightly so that the menu of how we sit is deep. And so just taking a few more moments to acknowledge and reflect the simultaneity of relative stillness and deep movement. All of the fluctuations and frequencies of the breath itself, the breath of life, the cardiopulmonary system, blood flow, the slower craniosacral rhythms. And in all of this awareness and all of this complex dance, can you allow your bones to breathe? So the osteo breath, the osteo release, kind of gets underneath all of the complex trauma, complex entanglement that we may be, well, we're working with all the time. And then again, change the way that you're sitting. A third variation. Beautiful, everyone. So let's begin standing. Take your time and make a conscious transition up to standing. Now, if you're new to this language, we do a lot with shapes, human shapes, or the shape keys. It's basically just a distillation of human movement. So this key of standing is a very human thing. Look down at your feet. Turn the feet straight ahead, parallel, feet relatively close. Unlock the knees. The knees also turn straight ahead. Just lay your hands on your hips, on your belly, somewhere on the body, and just very slowly, like you're moving in water, begin to pulse side to side. And pulsation, meaning the movement is coming from the hips. Okay, so at first it's very, very soft. Very soft. And for now, let the head float on the midline. So the feet are still, and the head is still, but the pelvis is moving across the midline. Already stimulating the bilateral relationship that has to do with balance and navigation of our world, both inside and outside. And you start to bend the knees more, you get into more of a side bend as the hips kick. Now imagine for a moment that you're strong enough to move the planet side to side with your feet. So to take your hips to the left, you're moving the ground to the right. And to move your hips to your right, you're pushing the ground to your left. And this engages you in a much deeper way. So you start to tone. There's an immediate deepening, a change of viscosity, if you will. And then what about your arms as your hands leave your body? And so above the earth, you're moving in water. And then with the feet, you're moving the planet itself. So these strong metaphors help add a lot of, as a technology of tone, engaging in ways, complex, global ways that we tend not to do. Our lifestyle doesn't generally invite global tone. So every fiber of your feet, every joint held in a strong, supple space. And so the blurred lines already appearing between dance and Qigong, Tai Chi, yoga. So you start to find your creative flow becomes a moving meditation. And I invite you to allow the head to look around slowly as you continue to move. You can widen your stance a little bit, and then moving into deeper space, still in this bilateral pulse. And then we're going to break open in the footwork. So now the hips begin to articulate. And if you need ideas, just watch me. And you just sort of suddenly your feet are breaking loose, the heels come up, you start to pivot in one hip or both hips, but you're still orienting side to side in general. And it's very powerful. Very, very powerful. Is the core on? Is the belly sleepy, or is it close to the spine? Are the buttocks still in bed? Turn everything on with passion and open the breath. Also, the variations that naturally occur in your system helped us to balance out fatigue where it would show up. So if you're repetitive in something, you'll start to change it up. Very strong. So go half as fast and twice as strong. So we want to get back to sort of the origin impulse of like, where do all of these beautiful practices come from? What inspired them? And just remain in that curiosity. Your bones know. You know how to move. You know how to breathe. 30 seconds. So you should be feeling this. You should be pretty toasty, at least in your legs, if not the whole body. So, breathe, breathe. Open it up. You can shake and shiver. You get so engaged that you're shivering, moving micro trauma out of your system profoundly. Now you're going to slowly make your way back to where you started, standing, the feet dancing themselves closer and closer together. As you come back to relative stillness, look down at your feet, because they love to turn out. Turn them straight out. They love to turn out because of chairs. It's not a natural thing. No, soft eyes, soft knees, just relatively still. There's much to feel. You've just already deeply stirred your system. Find the kidneys, the back of the diaphragm, and see if your inhalation can touch that space. Lay your palms over the low front ribs and elbows down by your sides and reflect the inhalation as it rises up from the earth through the midline to the deep diaphragm and really blossom the kidneys and the adrenals. Get behind the heart, behind the lungs, behind the eyes. Beautiful, everyone. Now drop your right foot back a little. So an asymmetrical stance. And now we move in the anterior posterior. So we're going to start to move forward and back. And so this is just a practice of slow-mo, practice of balance, of challenging yourself to invite, again, the full global articulation, pendiculation. So to articulate everything is pendiculation. Wild animals do it in everything that they do. We never do it unless you come to class and you start realizing that your whole life is one big pendiculation. So we place pandemic with pendiculation. As you start to bend your knees more. Maybe you cross the midline. Drop the back foot over to the left, the right foot behind you, cross the midline. Keep moving. Now it's a little more diagonal. Slower, stronger. And you want to really overactivate the feet for a little while. Grab onto the clay with your toes. And what you want to do is push the planet forward to move your body back. And pull the ground back to move your body forward like you're going to leap. You can start to pick up the light foot. If you're leaning back, it's the front foot. If you're leaning forward, it's the back foot. Then turn around to your right, 180 degrees, and you end up, same thing, right foot forward, moving forward and back. Now to involve the arms more, pull yourself forward, closing the shoulder blades, and then push yourself back, arms forward. Pulling yourself forward, pushing yourself back. Yeah, so your gravity center begins to drop down out of the head, down through the chest, into the core belly and pelvis where it belongs. Turn a little more to your right to cross the midline, right leg in front, but both legs crossing the midline, and continue to move between the feet, over the feet. And it can be a little strange to orient yourself to moving the planet with your feet. Push the ground forward to move back. Pull the ground back like a treadmill to move forward. Very powerful. Now, come on up and turn around again and go ahead and cross the midline left over right. Pivoting, this navigational cue of pivoting, turning. Let's stay here for a moment. Take the right arm up and bend the knees. Move your hips as far to the right as you can and side bend to your left. Look down and just hold the cranium with the folded right arm. Breathe. Now within this, move a little bit. The pelvis swaying between and over the feet. Keep the belly close, especially the low belly. Turn the glutes on. Soft eyes. Release the right arm off the top. Turn all the way around to your right, 180 degrees. Now if your legs are feeling kind of fried, this is a good thing. Go ahead and turn enough to cross right over left. Swing the left arm up. Move your hips to your left and side bend to your right. Look down at the back foot and lace the left arm over the head. And move the body over the feet, between front and back. Boy, try not to tuck the pelvis. Keep the kidneys open behind you. Strong left belly, pull the left kidney back. And then releasing the left arm off the top. Turn just halfway out to your left, so your feet are parallel. Bring the feet closer together. Just within your space, everybody, just walk around a little bit, but extremely slowly. Just walk around to move the energy softly. You might look down for balance. Every step a conscious step. Very nice, very nice. Now we're going to move into the second key, one we spent a lot of time in, is folding. So bend the knees like you're going to sit in a chair. Fold at the hips and come on down and take the fingertips to the ground. Go ahead and straight away start moving side to side. This is one of the most phenomenal places to move. So the shapes, there are 7, are human shapes, and all we do is we get into the sketch of the shape and we start to move. And we see what the bones can teach us. What we think we know about the joints is usually pretty limited. Move your hips more than your head. And if you spend your whole life doing that, life is going to be better than moving your head more than your butt. Move your pelvis. And this allows the mind to unlock, to begin to listen and reflect and observe the power of witness. It's necessary to move the core, move the pelvis. Relax the neck. So as you move side to side, you can start breaking open into the footwork like we did standing. But then go half or quarter speed and stronger. Now, since we're all monkeys, bend the knees enough to put the palms on the ground and turn the hands out away from each other, fingers out to the sides. With both of your feet and both of your hands, gently toss the planet side to side. Slow and strong, and let the neck be loose, let the eyes be spacious. If you can push the hands enough into the floor, you'll really work your core. Let the legs unlock, let the hips turn. Even though we're moving side to side, there's all of this sort of James Brown happening in the legs. Now the feet start to dance wider apart naturally. And then turn to your left a quarter turn. And now we're in the third key of crouching. And you're moving front to back now. And instead of the pelvis moving front to back on a linear path, see if that movement can be more elliptical, a long ellipse. Pelvis moving counterclockwise or clockwise as seen from above, traveling. Now remember that every place you feel a stretch, your left hamstrings, for example, is a call to action. You need to engage so that the stretch disappears into function and engagement. Turn around to your right, 180 degrees. And you're in the same crouch now with the right leg leading. Anything goes, folks, as long as your bones agree. Love hearing your breath. So, a few more moments. You should be feeling really deeply wrung. Wrung in, wrung out. Oh, let's try something. Turn back around to your left, 180, but turn more and more and more until you cross the midline. Now continue to move. Pelvis mostly on a diagonal between the feet. Hands support you so your legs don't get too fried. Turn around to your right, 180. Keep going, more than a half turn until you've crossed right over left. Oh, sit way back over the back foot, the right leg almost straight as it crosses the midline. You're welcome. A quarter turn out to your left until the legs are parallel, feet are parallel, a little bit wide. Have a seat, the key of sitting. Your heart rate is elevated. Let it be. Imagine the lungs opening up the space for the heart to thunder, to roll through, and to be in its power. Sit high on the sits bones while the belly fabric hollows towards the spine. Now this is tricky because I don't want you to suck your belly in. Please understand the reciprocity of the belly space. In other words, the low belly can only come in as far as the kidneys and the sacrum can open. And it's almost like the back has to open first, and then the belly can hollow. There's very few things as powerful as a hollow belly. And then the shoulders and chest spread out. Can you sense the space between the vertebrae and the spine, and let the breath get in there and soak the intervertebral space? Every time you exhale, get a little bit taller. Feel the energy of the group aligning. It's a coherence and a sweet arrival. So let's work on some individuation work in the pelvis. Sit cross-legged, everyone, with the left leg in front. Get on the same page for this. So left leg in the lead. And just lay your hands maybe on the knees or on the legs. And we're going to allow the pelvis to fall back and the chin to drop and the shoulders to round. But the low belly is zooming backwards. And then hook your sitting bones into the fabric of the earth and pull the earth back with your sits bones to lean the pelvis forward, right up the middle. Go as far as you can. If you start pinching your low back, you're probably pushing the diaphragm forward. As you pull the sits bones back, turn the buttocks on, and scoop the belly to the spine. So several times like that, let the pelvis roll back, sits bones forward. You're pushing the ground out in front of you. And then pull the ground with the sits bones, and the pelvis leans into the moment. And once again, let the pelvis roll back. Very slow, very strong. Imagine sitting in the creek, in the mud, moving clay with the pelvis. Pull the sits bones back to sit up and all the way forward. And remember, you're spinning on the axle of the hips. So you're rotating the pelvis on the hips. Flexing and extending the lower spine. Strong, like the fabric of the functional corset, meaning the fabric of the lower half of the torso and into the pelvis, is very alive. Now let's do what we did standing. When you roll back, push yourself back like a mime very powerfully, and then grab onto the quantum space and pull yourself back up, pelvis first. The arms are just there as an assist, squeezing the shoulder blades together. You can even back bend and look up a little. And then push yourself forward, push yourself back, hands forward, and look down. So now there's a complex movement of pelvis, the wave through the spine, the function of pull and push. And then let the head look around as you continue to operate with wisdom and clarity in the core. Let the head be inspired to be free by the movement. The movement frees the head instead of locking and binding the head. Pelvis first. Do everything pelvis first. Oh my goodness. The more you fall in love with being totally on, and by that I mean everything is arriving, every fiber and fractal facet of your being is showing up for this, the better it feels, the more coherence there is between all the cells and within the cells. An inter and intracellular intelligence is another way of looking at how you tone the moment. Keep going. Swami Vidyadeshananda describes cultivating subtle feelings. And the only way to do that is to explore the full range of deep engagement to deep release and understanding how they coexist. So we're non-binary, we're non-polar, when we can be both strong and very soft at the same time. Again, wild and supple. Okay, now, from here, switch the way the legs are crossed, right leg in front. Everybody okay? What did I get myself into? Okay, here we go. So now we're going to load the shoulders, and this takes a lot of practice and a lot of careful articulation of the cuff. So we're going to start, first of all, without the hands. You're going to rock side to side. Rock side to side. And we're not touching the ground yet, and we're not touching the body yet. We're not touching the legs anyway. So move the earth side to side with your pelvis. So moving the earth to your right takes your upper body to the left. Let the head look around. Also, when you load one sitting bone, whatever one you're leaning onto, stay more to the front of that sitting bone than the back. So try not to tuck. Remember where you feel a stretch. You need to really engage. A stretch or exposure or a lack of support in a joint. Very strong, very slow. Sometimes we go fast. We have other practices that complement this tendency to be slower velocity in this work. So your HIIT training, your interval training, your speed is informed by this that we're doing right now. Now we're going to take a hand down, go to your left, take your left hand down. And the hand is pretty close to the body, elbow in close to the kidney. And as you lean in a little bit more with your right leg in front, you should be able to set your right leg. And just kind of lean into it. Don't go all the way to the floor yet. Just come right back out, drop the right knee, go over to the right side. Now the left leg doesn't set. It just kind of rolls. And you're not meant to keep that far hip, the left hip, on the floor. Let it float. Go back and forth several times. Get a feel for how to load the shoulder. You got to really pull the shoulder head away from the ground with everything that you have. A general rule is to close the shoulder blades as you go into one side. Also, keep the belly close to the spine. Keep the kidneys back. Now, sooner than later, you're going to go close to the floor, in which case you can start touching a temple to the ground. Use your free hand if it's too much load on one shoulder. Please be smart with this. Shoulder blades close. The shoulder head away from the ground. And also, put the weight on the index and thumb side of the wrist rather than the little finger side of the wrist. Strong. And if the buttocks are not on, the sacrum will not be supported. Turn the legs and the glutes on. So here we are, starting to really load the shoulder. And notice if the neck is getting tight. Try looking down and put the forehead on the floor. And then push back off. Cross the midline, forehead on the floor. Use your free hand to be smart. Just a little bit longer, everybody. So this slow power is an intelligence, a technology of self-resistance, meeting the moment. So cultivating subtle feelings means cultivating subtle engagement. It's a level, a quality of devotion. Now, go over to your left side, put both hands down. Now as you come down, set your right leg and turn and look behind you. Set the right brow down, shoulder blades close, and push back up. Go over to your right, two hands down, look behind you. Left brow maybe touches. Pick up the right shoulder especially, and go back and forth. Because this is so much fun. Keep the elbows close to the body, everyone. Don't flare the elbows out to the sides. Use your whole body to come back up. Still moving the planet side to side with our movement. Twisting. So just an advanced piece is when you get to the twist and you're looking behind you, turn the belly more towards the ceiling. Pull the top side kidney back behind you. Everyone know where their kidneys are? It's not a joke. A lot of people don't know that. People come up in there after class, they're like, where are the kidneys? I'm like, they're in your butt. No, I'm just kidding. So the top side kidney here, my left kidney, I'm going to pull it back and counter rotate. Just another pulse or two, everybody. Okay, now come on up. Actually, you know what? Just lay down. Lay down. Give yourself a chance to feel so much. The best way to deepen the medicine of movement is to just get very, very good at witnessing. So all of the beautiful response, the blossoming, the heating, cooling, both, the unwinding and unlocking, the deep saturation of life and release. Just watch, just observe, which means feel, without attachment. Perhaps you can feel a lot of space around the sacrum, beyond the body, right down into the ground. Maybe you can feel spaciousness in the pelvic diaphragm, pelvic floor. Let it float naturally towards the heart. Open the diaphragms of the soles of the feet. Drop the kidneys, lay the kidneys down. Let the shoulders drop. Lay the heart down and the lungs, and lay down the voice. And lay down the mind, the organ of the brain, into the deeper cranium. Beautiful. Make your way slowly back up to seat. Every transition is part of your practice. All right, beautiful. So sit with the right leg in front. And let's practice some transitional, some mobility work, from hands free into an asymmetrical squat. So if you lean back and set your front leg, then lean forward and set your left leg, lift the left knee in your asymmetrical squat. Go ahead and slowly stand. Come back down. Slow. Really feel it. Be soft in your power. Okay, now let's play around in this space. Take the arms inside the knees, turning the back leg out, the front leg out, and just monkey this for a little while. That's a verb, to monkey. Move around in this, gently, complexly engaging and opening the hips, the low back, the sacral plexus, the knees. It's really important if you're challenged in your knees, first of all, is to make the feet more active. Grab onto the ground with your toes. Work the soles of the feet like diaphragms, and point, even more importantly, is to point the thigh and the foot below the thigh in the same direction most of the time. Now, bring your arms outside your knees, knees together. Slide the feet next to each other. If the heels don't touch, that's fine. If the heels do, that's fine too. And then what we're going to do is have a seat. Take the left leg in front. Lean back a little bit. Set your left leg. Lean forward. Tuck the right toes under. Pre-engage, which means engage before you have to. Bring the right knee up. And then slowly stand. As slowly as you can stand it, come all the way up. Breathing, breathing, and then dropping back down. Pulling the earth to you with your feet. Good. And then from here, take the arms between the knees and play around in the asymmetrical squat. Just try to point the thighs and the feet below in the same direction most of the time. Go slower and stronger. Remember, you're moving the planet before you move your body. So really, she loves that interaction, that human acupuncture. So your feet, your hands, the touch of the planet is really powerful. Dig your fingertips in, not aggressively, just passionately. And then take your arms outside the knees and bring the right foot next to the left foot in a symmetrical squat of any shape, any you can turn out as well. Stay here for a moment, and with the hands, if the hands are on the floor and the heels are up, it's fine. Pulse a little bit forward and back. Delaminating the stuckness in the lower half of the body. And right now, you guys are moving your lower lymphatic system like nothing else. Is probably the best thing for your immune system, for the lungs. And then have a seat. Sit with the right leg in front. Let's do that whole thing again. This time, let's add a piece. Take your hands back behind you. Turn the hands out. And with the wrists pretty close together, put the palms down and push the earth down without lifting the hips until the shoulder blades completely closed. Bend the elbows. Pick up the chest and draw the diaphragm back. Sits bones down. Scoop the low belly to the spine and look up. Now move the planet side to side with your hands and your hips and legs pulsing bilaterally. Also, let the head turn any way you want to. This is deeply engaged, like it's really, really powerful. Try to stretch the ground between your hands by pulling the hands away from each other without them going anywhere. Unlock the elbow. Unlock the space between the ears. And then come back up. You just float your arms out to the sides, palms up, elbows hanging. Set your right leg, lean forward, set the left leg in the asymmetrical squat. Standing. Rock onto the back leg, pick up the front foot for a moment. Floating, just balancing on the back leg, just giving you ideas. Set the right leg down, load both feet. You're on the ball of the left foot and all of the right foot as you come back down. Get the arms in between the knees and open this up again. Moving in the key of squatting. It's just an artist's sketch. So many possibilities governed by the vision, governed by the bones. Now bring the knees inside the arms, slide the left foot to the right foot, dropping into a symmetrical squat. Good, and then have a seat. Left leg in front. Take the hands around behind you and turning the hands either back or out to the sides and push the palms to the floor. Close the shoulder blades. Push down into the earth with the hands to arc and extend the spine. Sits bones stay down. Scoop the low belly to the sacrum, the mid belly to the lumbar, and then low front ribs to the kidneys, and then lift the uppermost chest. Really expose where the collarbones meet the sternum. Turn the head a little bit as you start moving the earth side to side, throwing your body reciprocally bilaterally. Now with your hands, try to pull the ground wider between the wrists. Very, very powerful on the shoulder, everybody. Let the neck be soft as the whole rest of the body is so deeply engaged. Use your hips to move the ground side to side. Release slowly. Take the arms out to the sides. Turn the biceps up, but keep the palms facing the ground, elbows dripping. Loosen the neck if there's any residual tension. And then reach the arms forward, set the left leg. Reach forward, set the right leg. Asymmetrical squat, active feet for the knees, and stand. At standing, rock back onto the back leg. Balance, point the right knee where the right toes are pointing. Float the left foot. You're not holding anything. You're just playing. Okay, and then set the left foot back down, pre-engage to descend to the squat one more time. Set the arms between the knees, open it up. So you can take this pretty wide. You can actually get, even though the left foot is in front, and get the knees pointing away from each other, the hands braced against the inner knees, inner thighs, rock side to side. You're not looking for a stretch. Your exposure is showing you where you need support. So the left inner groin, for example, turn on the left inner thigh if you can. Turn on the buttocks in general. It really helps stabilize everything. Bring the arms outside the knees. Step the right foot next to the left. Dropping into one more asymmetrical squat. have a nap. Oh my gosh. Tractioning the lumbar spine. So much compression energetically, physiologically, culturally. Okay, then let's do one more prep before we get into the final sequences. Lift the hips, take the feet wider. And we're gonna slowly now get into what I call side squats. So if you had martial arts training, this might be familiar. You're gonna drop to one side, use your hands, but don't straighten the long leg. Keep a bend in the knee. Pull the heel down into the ground, the long leg. And then shifting over to the other side very slowly. Use your arms. Coming over to the other leg. So this is really going to expose the hamstrings, the adductors of the long leg. So you have to figure out how to work those places so that the stretch is nullified. Move side to side on your own. Keep the neck super easy. Oh, yes. You can also have so many variations. The squatting leg can turn really far in, like this. If the foot turns with the knee, you can also turn and point way out. Just giving you ideas. It's not so much that I teach how to move, I help you remember how to move. Just a few more on each side, everybody. Take your time. Try not to let the neck get tangled up. So the complex entanglements, the complex codependencies between the neck and shoulders are some of the richest in the body. Rich meaning we need to unwind a lot. Track your knees, you're taking care of your joints, you're remembering how to take care of your bones so they can take care of you. All right, beautiful. Great, everybody. So go ahead and find a seat. You can take the right leg in front. And just enjoy the space that you're in. The conscious stirring. It's a quickening. Always the reawakening. Okay, so let's go through this first time slow together so you can learn the sequence a little bit. We're going to be repeating this, so don't worry about it if there's no right or wrong. But basically all we're going to do first is right leg is in front, we're going to fold forward. And as you do this, allow your spine to round, keep the chest open, and play with your own variations as you fold. No destination, no expectation. And then all we're going to do is come up. Now your orientation is going to be your own. Take your left hand back a bit and turn it out. And catch your right foot with your right hand. Now look to your left and pull on the leg as the leg reaches off to your left, turning your whole body to the left neck crease. So you really get to pull against the leg. It's not about getting it straight. It does reach towards straight as long as it's not enough to stretch. Now keep the leg where it is and let go with your right hand. Set your right hand behind you too. And now sweep the right leg across the sky, all the way over to your right. And as you do this, you land your right leg, it's turned out, and the left leg sets automatically. Put the hands on either side of the right leg, keep it turned out and lean into it. But everybody, you gotta really press the right leg down into the floor to avoid the stretch. Activate the lateral hamstrings by pushing the earth down with your right leg. Now come back up, turn to your left, and as you do so, lay the left knee down and then come into like a pigeon in yoga, where the left leg is in front. Now I like to set this up with the left knee way off to the left thigh in a diagonal. The left heel is turned up inside the right hip bone. Stay here for a moment, come up onto the fingertips. Now press the earth down with your legs, especially the back foot. The toes are tucked under instead of pointed. And push the ground down with your right knee. Turn the buttocks on. Now, straight from here, lift up into a lunge. Left leg pops up into a lunge. Move around in the shape of a lunge. This is another key. It's a lunge, very human shape. Move around in it. Mostly backwards and forwards with the pelvis, or high and low with the hips. But also rotation of the hips, trying different things. And then from here, we're going to keep the stance and lunge and stand up. Good. Turn all the way around to the right, 180. And drop into a crouch. And a crouch is similar to a lunge, both knees bent. And instead of lunging into the front knee, just play around here. So another key is the crouch. In the creek, in the woods, over the rocks. Now, turn a quarter turn to your left. So your legs are wide-ish, your feet parallel-ish. And you're gonna walk your hands over to the left and hop your right leg behind you across the midline. Stay there for a moment, just crossing and fold, moving around a little bit. Remember, the movement is the pelvis, everybody. Movement in the pelvis means movement everywhere. Now, take the right leg uncrossed, step it a little bit out in front of you. Take your left leg across the midline behind you, and then fold into like what would be cow face in yoga, right knee stacked on top, crossing the midline. Take both hands to the front left diaphragm, lovingly, and pull the left side of the body back. The left shoulder blade pulls down and into the T-spine, and look over your right shoulder. Now with the right hand, the right fingertips touch the head of the left shoulder and push it back a little more, turn more to look behind you. Most of the revolution of the spine is available from the kidneys up. So turn the thoracic, turn the cranium, turn the neck, but turn the pelvis and belly to the left. And then from here, keep your gaze, release your hands, turning to your right. No, sorry, everyone. Turn to your left. You're going to stay low as you turn all the way around via a combination of squats. Keep going all the way around, and you end up sitting with the left leg in front. Pretty cool. Take a moment. Bonus points if you end up facing where you started, but it doesn't matter. And folding over the top. Let the spine round, belly empty, and the hollow belly empty to the spine. Pick up the kidneys with long collarbones. Put your hands on your knees here, elbows in close to the body, and move side to side while you're folding. Where you feel a stretch in the left hip, you got to turn the left leg on more, push the ground down with both legs, turn on the left buttocks. And then come on up. And then you take just your right hand back, just a little bit. Turn to your right, catch your left foot in the process with your left hand, and fly the left leg way out to your right, pulling with your back as you press the leg into that resistance, into the hand. Let go of the foot, set your left hand behind you too, and fly the leg across the sky, setting your right leg as you turn towards your left leg, and keep the left leg turned out. Gently lean over the left leg and just practice pushing the outer left foot heel down into the ground enough to neutralize any stretch in the left hamstrings. Come back up, turn to your right, setting up a temporary pigeon. Stay up on your fingertips or on your hands. Push the ground down with the back leg, the ball of the left foot, even the left knee if you like. Sink the right shin into the earth and then Flip right up into a lunge, right leg forward. Move around in the lunge creatively. Just seeing what is possible. What can I become? Is the fundamental drive of nature, source. What can it become? Is the creative energy. Then with the lunge shape in the legs, stand up. Keep your hips low. Turn around to your left, 180. And drop into a crouch. Very similar to the lunge. But more bend in the back knee, moving around in your way. Then a quarter turn to your right. Legs are wide in a fold. Hop your back leg across the midline, right over left. Bending the knees, dancing here for a moment. Slower now, slower everyone. More breath, more power. Supple in the neck. Turning the head side to side really helps. Uncross the back leg out in front of you, cross the right leg behind, and then sit left knee on top, like Gomukhasana from yoga. Take both hands to the front low ribs on the right, and pull the right side of the body back. Right hip, right kidney, right shoulder. Look over your left shoulder. Take the left fingertips and push the head of the right shoulder back a little more. Turn the head even further to the left. So you should feel a lengthening starting behind the right ear, but a deep contraction starting behind the left ear. Focus on that left side. It's warm. Breathe. And then release and turn your head slowly to the right. Put your hands down. Spin to your right, moving through squats. 360 lily, all the way around. End up sitting cross-legged with the right leg in front. Give yourself a few moments. So your embodiment becoming more and more transparent to what moves through it, the energy of the breath of life, and all of the elemental forces, the gravitational reality, the quantum field. The transparency means a clean translation. So you're not posturing. Something is moving, shining forth from through the form. Folding forward, right leg is in front. Let's go again. And then come on up. Set your left hand behind you. Catching the right foot with your right hand and moving to turn to your left and reach the right leg across the midline. Pull and push, equal to each other, inner equilibrium. And the right arms pull, the right legs reach. Let go of the leg. Put the right hand behind you too. Lean back, fly the right leg across the sky. Land it laterally rotated, set the left leg, and then leaning over the right leg carefully, move the earth down enthusiastically to take care of the right IT band and lateral hamstring. Then look back to your left. Point the left knee towards pigeon. Lift up. This is basically a folded lunge. You're up on your fingertips. Go ahead and spring up into the lunge. Just moving a little quicker to find the flow. Keep your lunge and stand. Bend the back knee towards the floor as you turn around. Slow, opening the hips all along the way. 180 to the right, touch the earth on either side of the right leg in a crouch. And move around in the crouch. A quarter turn to your left, wide-ish legs. Move around here for a moment. Good. Now hop the right leg behind you, shifting to your left. So the left leg is in front, crossing the midline. Move around. Let the pelvis fly out, orbiting around the ankles. And then uncross, take the right leg forward and to the right. Step your left leg behind you across the midline and fold right knee over left, sitting. Good. Now turn from the diaphragm to the earth, turn left. Very powerfully. And you want to pull the left kidney and left pelvis back. Look over your right shoulder. Shoulder blades come close together. Touch your left fingertips to the floor behind you. And pull the earth forward with your left biceps. Pull the earth, turning your lower body more to the left, and then release the head to the right, turning to the right. Good. Keep your left hand where it is, and look to your left, turning towards your left hand, both hands down. Coming out of this, squatting all the way around, turning left. Turning left, go slow, turning left, and sitting, you'll end up with the left leg in front. And folding over the top, last time in this sequence. And use your legs to come back up, your hips to come back up. Put your right hand behind you. Catch your left foot with your left hand. Fly your left leg to your right, quarter turn to your right. Pull on the leg and reach the leg into that resistance. Let go of the leg, set your left hand behind you, lean back and fly the leg over the sky. To your left now, the right leg setting. Hands on either side of the left leg, leaning into it, only so far as you do not feel a stretch. Press the earth down with the outer blade of the left foot. And then as you come back up, turn to your right, open the hips, point with the right knee towards pigeon, and flip it over into a folded lunge. Come right up into the lunge, strength. Go ahead and keep the lunge and stand. Turn around, 180 to your left. Bend the knees and drop the hands to a crouch. Whoa. Somebody say something. Come on, it's okay. Say something. Just say the word something. So you're in a crouch. Now quarter turn to your right. Legs turning forward. Now hop your left leg behind your right. Shuffling, sliding. Bend the knees and move the pelvis over the feet. Turn your head. The head gets too stuck in one direction. Think about that. But don't think about that. Now uncross, take the left leg out in front and hop the right leg behind the midline and then fold left knee on top. We're having a good time. Ever the salesman. Okay, set your right hand behind you, thumb forward, fingertips. You want to pull the earth forward with your hand to turn your body to the right. This is a deep core counter rotation. Turn the pelvis to the right. And then rise up to the crown and look over your left shoulder. Pull the earth forward with your right hand. Very powerful. So strong, actually, that you're trembling in the best possible way. Kind of like the trembling of joy, ecstasy, also the trembling of a deep cry that moves so much energy. And then keep the right hand, turn slowly towards your right hand, put both hands down. Help yourself out of this into squat variations that turn you all the way around to your right until you land once more sitting with the right leg crossed in front. Great, everyone. So let's move into another sequence. This one's going to start in standing. So take your time coming up to standing. This one ends in begins and ends in the key of standing. Feels good to stand up, head up on your feet, look down at your feet. Neutral rotation. And I don't want to pitch this too much, but this is really fun. If I could only teach the thing, let's see what happens. So unlock everything. This is a choice. We sometimes call it coiling in the Embody Keys language. The function of coil is to come into yourself. It's brahmacharya. It's coming into the core. So you see it in a cat, a stalking cat. She sits down in the grass. She gets low. So here in standing is a biped. Watch me. So we might be like here as an example. Bend the knees and drop in just a little. Okay? And we're going to take the left arm up. Actually, no, take both arms up. Strong, strong, like you're lifting the sky. And then shift your hips to your left. Make a fist with the left hand and side bend to your right. Pick up the right heel. In fact, you can even pick up the right foot and set the right foot over to the right more. Move the hips to the left. Look down. Good. Now as you come up, drop your right foot back. And if this is new for you, cat stance, you put the load on the right leg and the left foot's just barely touching out in front of you. Reach both arms over the top, moving the knuckles forward just as a little variation here. Good. Now from here, come back up. Now balance on your right leg and swing your left leg behind you, bending the knee, and reach with your right hand and catch that left ankle. Now slowly plunge. Take the left hand down to the floor. Yeah. Now once you're here, let go with the right hand. Lean into both hands and fly the left leg anywhere up in the sky and pick up your standing heel. Load the hands more. Turn the biceps more forward, like you could somehow kick up into handstand. Now look over to your right with your head, like right under the right arm. That's where your left foot is going to land. Drop it way over there to the right. You end up in kind of like a crouch lunge, slightly crossing the midline, like something like this. Oh, yeah, stay here for a moment because it's yummy. Landed successfully. Now, walk around to your left, pivoting your whole body around to the left, 180 degrees. Set up like warrior two legs with your hands, fingertips inside the left foot. Pick up the right heel a little bit. Bend the left knee a lot and lift all of your right side towards the ceiling. You're not posing, you're strengthening. Now put both hands down right where they are. Step your left leg back into a plank. The legs a little wide and a little wider. Now bring your hips over to the right side of your wide plank and turn your hips to the left like this. And then travel through the midline. And then on your left side, turn the hips back to the right, feet too, and travel through the midline a few times. Twisting and moving in plank. Oh, breathe, everybody. It's going to be okay. Now turn to your left. Turn to your left. Set your right hand like side plank. Step your right foot out in front of you. Then turn everything towards the ceiling into a reverse plank. Walk your hands towards your feet. Good. Now tuck your left foot just behind your right. And come all the way into an asymmetrical squat close to where you started. Turn a little more to your right. And stand. Your heart rate should be up. It's okay, it's good. And then back to neutral. That's the sequence. Move a little side to side because if you hold and go static, the energy may not be able to clear. So everything is a dance. Okay, take the feet close together. Coil, come into the gravity center in the belly. Take the arms up. Now, reach your right arm and hips to the right. You side bend to your left. That left leg gets really light. Pick up the left heel. Maybe float the left foot. Set it further to the left. Push the hips to the right. Strong in the right belly. And then come on up. Drop your left foot just behind you. Cat stance, right foot leading. Reach over the top. Pushing. Reaching into your own personal fabric and space. Then as you come up, balance on your left leg. Look down. Bring the right foot behind you, catch with your left hand. Bring your right hand down, touch in front. Release the right leg into the sky, both hands down, lean into the hands, pick up the left heel. Do whatever you like here. Look over to your left, look under your left arm. That's where your right foot is going to fall, way over there. Good. And you end up in a kind of a long lunge-ish, squatted, crouch-ish, something-ish. Crossing the midline a little bit, moving around now that you've landed. And then turn to your right, 180 degrees, walking around. Loosen the neck. Set warrior two legs. Lengthening the back leg without locking the knee. The left heel actually floats a little. Lift the entire left side of the body. Bend the right knee. Breathe. Empty the pelvic floor. Put both hands down. Step the right leg back into a wide-legged plank. Move from side to side, twisting. When you get to the side, you twist and look the other way with the hips. Keep the hips lower. Try to stay on the balls of the feet. Oh. Now, the next time your hips turn to your right, set on your left hand for side plank. Step your left foot out in front of you. Then turn to the ceiling in reverse plank. Walk your hands to your feet. Tuck the right foot behind the left. Asymmetrical squat. Maybe you're wondering how many of these are we going to do? Go ahead and stand. Yes. You're alive, people. Okay. Pause. Back in the day, Eric Schiffman comes to Atlanta, teaches a yoga workshop, and the thing that I took away from the whole thing was his way of saying pause. To be like, pause. It's very effective. Quantum reality is beyond space and time. It doesn't care. It can be anywhere and anywhere, anytime, without traveling. So there's a subtler body to feel the quantum reality as it micro massages the reality and informs the possibilities. This you might just call spaciousness, that subtle, wide canvas within you that's all around you. So we want to access that more and more as we, in our movement. It is what is informed by the movement. Reach both arms up. Let's go through this one more time on each side. Both arms up. Take your hips to your left, way off to your left. Side bend the upper body to the right. Reach over the top with the left arm. Make a fist, the palm facing the floor, the right heel popping off the ground. And then come on up. Drop your right foot back. Cat stance, left foot leading. Reach over the top. Reach, breathe. Work. You really want to work. And then come on up, balance on the right leg, swing your left foot behind you, catch with the right foot, hold the ankle, reach down and push the earth with the left hand. As the left knee goes up, release the foot, both hands on the floor, come up onto the ball of the right foot, lifting the right heel and pushing the left leg into the sky. Look over to your right, under your arm, drop your left leg way off to your right, and you're in a lioness crouch. I don't recommend talking while you do this stuff. Just saying. Woo! Oh my goodness. Now turn all the way around to your left. Bend the left knee. These are warrior two legs. Very powerful stance. The right heel hovering, the right knee unlocked. Now you've got a huge rubber band around your right heel and your left knee. And it's so strong, it's really resisting you, and you can push out against it. Left knee forward, right heel back. Keep that power. Put the hands down. Step into the wide plank. Twist and move across the midline. A couple of times. If you want a little bit of a twist, take one hand off the floor when you can. Now when you turn your hips to your left, load the right hand. Side plank, but step the right foot out in front. Turn everything towards the ceiling. Walk towards your feet. Tuck your left foot just behind your right. Asymmetrical squat. And stand. And just back the right foot up. Pause. Just observe. Just allow. All right, you guys, one more time, and then we're going to rest. Take the arms up, feel it, celebrate it. Right arm high, hips go to the right first, and then side bend to your left. Bending both knees, float the left heel. Maybe step the left foot out a little more. Look down at your left foot, very grounding. And then as you come up, drop your left foot back. Cat stance, right foot leading. Reach over the top, dig into the left hip. Reach the knuckles from the left hip. And then come on up. Swing your right foot behind you, catch with your left hand. Bend the left knee, come down and push the earth with your right hand. Lean in, set the right foot free, both hands down. So load the hands, leaning forward, and pick up the left heel. And fly the right leg around. Turn your head and look to your left. You're gonna let the sky leg fall to your left. You end up with the left leg in front in a lunge crouch. Oh. Turn around to your right 180 degrees. A big warrior two stance with the back heel hovering. Lift the left side of the body. Now that rubber band around the front knee and the back heel, open it up without locking your left knee. Feel the great expanse of the pelvic diaphragm. Both hands down. Set wide legs in a plank. Twist and pulse side to side. Maybe taking the light hand off the floor for a moment. Now, the next time your left hand is loaded, your hip should be turning to your right. Side plank, step your left foot in front in the side plank, turn towards the sky. Walk towards your feet. Right foot behind the left. Asymmetrical squat, pre-engage, and stand. Beautiful. Come on down and have a seat. Very conscious transitions. Take a moment sitting. You've done a lot. You've undone a lot. Go ahead and lay down. Give yourself a beautiful chance to rest and integrate. And don't be surprised if it takes some time. There is no destination, but there's always deeper release. Conscious exhale. That's bones exhaling. To your blood. The heart. Give it back. It's a really amazing yoga teacher, Doug Keller, used to say, in Shavasana, we practice giving back the life force that is on loan to us. But this happens all the time. Practice emptiness. with the lightest possible touch, yoke the awareness to a sense of low belly, hara, lower dantian, well below the navel, and deep inside, and let the awareness sit like a Buddha in a sense of gravity center, gravity space. Watch your breath and relax the spaciousness of the inhalation, relax the spaciousness of the exhalation with the attention in the low belly. And let that low belly stay a little bit closer to the sacrum, both on the inhale and the exhale, so that you might easily fill the length of your inhale with the count of 5 or 6. But fill the space with a number. Don't create space around a number. A 5 inhale or 6 inhale and a 5 exhale or 6 exhale, and let it be so relaxed, permission, allowance. Feel the sacrum breathing when the low belly stays close to the ground. And whether it's 5 or 6, at the ends of the breath, give just the tiniest pause on the 5s or the 6s so that they have more space as the breath turns around like sunrise and sunset. The ends of the breath are a little bit timeless, a little more quantum. So that the spaciousness of the rhythm of the breath is opening up just by giving a soft focus at the ends of the breath. It's the tiniest lingering. The awareness below the belly, staying close, staying close. Take your time, friends, exploring your way up to sitting. From the very first movements all the way up to sitting, it is a practice. So, deepest gratitude. As always, it's an honor. It's an honor to share and to hold space and share space with you. Blessings, everyone. Thank you. Enjoy your day. Oh, yum.